first full day of the Laquan McDonald murder trial. And I call it the Laquan McDonald. It's actually the Jason Van Dyke trial, right?
You can't say one without the other.
You can't. And so this is the first full day where really something happened. Opening statements. What did you think was interesting about that, Mark?
Well, you know, it was the first chance to really see how the two are going to sides are going to come at it.
Right, right. You know, what I found was most interesting, I always find this when I come to Cook County and watch any type of trial, is that it is so non-diverse. So you look in there and you see all the people tend to be the lawyers are white, and the victims are, or the people who are involved in it are black, or the prosecutors are white. In this case is no different. They talk about this not being a racial case, but this is probably the most important, biggest racial case we've had in Chicago in a very long time. Not only are you dealing with the police being accused of shooting a black teenager, but you also have a case where you have a jury where you only have one, and this is Cook County now, where this is the largest population of black folks. You have one black juror that made the jury that will decide the verdict.
Well, I'm also troubled by that fact. I would say that it felt a lot different than most of the cases, though, because a white police officer on trial. And
as opposed to a black person on trial.
As opposed to a black person on trial.
True.
And it totally flipped the dynamic in the room, to me, just of how you normally see this stuff playing out.
How did it flip?
Well, just that the prosecution piling on the police officer as opposed to the normal defendant that we would see.
And it was refreshing to see a black female prosecutor from Winnebago County, I think she's from, actually having a role in this case and kind of bringing in the weight of the prosecutorial might and power against this Chicago police officer.
Yes, there's a team there that they seem to have put together a professional team. You don't even immediately sense, these folks aren't from here.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Which is important.
Yes, and to put the police officers on a stand and really try to make the case that a reasonable, and I think she did a good job with this, that a reasonable police officer did not pull his weapon. A reasonable police officer followed this person. A reasonable police officer did not feel threatened and felt like he needed to pull his gun and fire.
And again, it was the first time we saw the defense clearly put on, its side of this, which is that they're saying that he was a threat right from the get-go when he threatened a truck driver in a parking lot. And that from that moment on, he was dangerous, and that the threat level increased as he went.
And the other thing that came out was that I thought that they were trying, and this is just from what the cross-examination that the defense team did when you talked about the tape. The videotape was shown earlier, and they began to try to break it down to maybe what you're seeing is not really what you're seeing, raising questions and questioning an expert about depth perception and all of those sorts of things. It seems to be trying to lay the foundation that just because there's a videotape, and a shocking and brutal videotape, doesn't mean that it was murder.
Did you notice that if we saw that videotape once today, we probably saw it 15 to 20 times as it was replayed over and over. And it wasn't even a case of them breaking it down, as I assume they'll do at some point. This was just sort of establishing how they got the videos, but they kept showing it over. I mean, Laquan fell, if he took 16 shots today, he took 160, maybe 320.
Right, and you can see why it would be very, very hard for a parent or a loved one to be in that courtroom today.